we are joined today by a national treasure. Folks, please welcome on the podcast today, the one, the only, Jane Siberry. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Yay! Wicked. Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you so much for being here. By the way, I love the glasses too. I was actually going to say that to you off the top here when we were talking before. So yeah, if you don't need them, then it's totally up to you. But yeah. Oh, Dimitri, take it away. And it looks like we've got somebody in the waiting room here.
It might be Derek.
Yes. David. Is his name David?
Yes.
Oh,
fantastic. Yes, he's working with me. So please let him in.
Can we bring him in?
Yes, please do.
is it? What's David's last name?
Olenek.
Okay, and what does he do? Is he a good?
He is part of my amazing think tank, which just coagulated or galvanized or catalyzed like 4 months ago when I reached out needing help with the release, so that I just don't send an email out. So a group of people have gotten together to make sure the music does get out, my new recording.
Yeah.
So he is sort of the mastermind of all this, and much appreciated.
Yeah, I get your newsletter. So I've seen that, like, you've been back and forth between New York and Toronto, and working on this, and the last I saw, like, it's probably like we can probably expect some new music around November. You're thinking?
Yeah. Yes. I have to tour for November, so it'll be there may be something that comes out, but I'll be.
And I have my tickets.
For where?
Hughes Room.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm very excited. But I have seen you play before. You did a songwriter showcase at the Fox Theater in the Beaches in Toronto.
Yeah.
So I even got to meet you, but like, that was a thrill. But anyway,
and now you're meeting for the second time to meet.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Good for you.
So
So
but
that
anyway,
all the lies are going to fall away like a ceramic cup in the middle of winter. When you just tap it lightly, that's what's going to happen to you.
Fantastic.
So tell us, how is this new music taking shape? Is it taking shape in a different way than previous albums have come about?
Yes, I wasn't sure if I'd do another recording, but finally I had it sort of in my being to create something. And so I just did a lot of it in my bedroom, on my laptop, and then started working with a dear friend, Renee Cologne, who is also a fantastic musician producer in the States. So together we have shepherded all the songs into a long recording. And yes, I've had to do it like recording week at a time until I raised the money for the next one. So it took quite a while in a perfect way, but so it's been slow, but I'm very pleased with the results.
And
really answer your question. So I don't think I can put it out as a whole. I have to keep waiting for the next lump of money to come in. So we thought the natural thing is to just release it one song at a time. That's the plan anyway.
Okay. And is Sheba Records still a thing? Your independent label?
No, I don't really have a label anymore, but it's the company that owns the music. Yeah.
Okay.
I let that go a long time ago.
Yeah. So prior to the new album, you had in 2016 you put out Ulysses Purse, and then in 2017 you did a remix with 3 new songs, and that collection was called Angels Bend Closer.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that you didn't feel like you were going to release anything ever again. What was causing that?
I think there wasn't enough magnetism in my being to be a musician for quite a while. So, and then something changed inside me, and I felt I had concentrated enough love for music that I could do something again.
Awesome. So I feel so. I just like you in way back in the beginning of your career, or even before your career, you acquired a degree in microbiology.
Mhm.
Oh, Christopher Vaughn says, "When I Was a Boy" album is such a classic. So who do you know? So we already had. I wasn't expecting comments in whatever stream.
Oh, I wasn't expecting them either. Okay. Hello there, Christopher Vaughn. Thank
Okay.
you.
So so do you feel like a background in science has like fed your process at all in making music? Is she frozen?
I'm not sure. Uh-oh. Jane, are you there? We have maybe technical issues. Uh-oh.
Mm-mm.
Hold that thought, Dimitri.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-oh. There we go.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Oh, she's back.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's my link. I know you wanted something really solid, but I am on a hot spot. So
That's okay. No worries. It happens. No problem. Dimitri had a question for you in regards to your degree. Sorry,
In
Dimitri,
your science degree, do you feel like a background in science has influenced you in the way that you approach creativity or anything like that?
it's given me a sort of. It's reinforced my desire to like have substance before I say anything. You know, partly why I took the degree is because the new age was sort of coming to be, and it interested me very much, like a lot of people, like all the information about energy and all this, but most people seem to be blowing through their hats. They didn't really know what energy was. So I get frustrated when it's too loosey-goosey, because we need to depend on things.
Mm-hmm.
And science is wonderful for that to a certain degree.
Yes.
So I decided to just learn more about it and then build from the bottom up. So, in answer to your question, did it affect? I think honestly, it's backwards. You know, it's the way I am influenced what I studied.
Awesome. And go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, no, I was actually just going to say, going back to, of course, Jane Siberry, the debut release back in '81 on Duke Street Records. We've spoken of Duke Street Records several times on this podcast of how unbelievably cool a label that certainly was. You were talking earlier about working with a wonderful musician out of the United States. I wanted to ask you if you have seen any issues recently with with CanCon rules as far as working internationally, as far as working with international musicians, because I know Bryan Adams actually has spoken out about this a few times in regards to maybe not being Canadian content enough. I'm just wondering if you've seen any issues like that, if you've had to deal with that in the past.
Well, that's for radio, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Where is
Yeah.
radio now? I don't even think it exists the same way as it used to.
Yeah.
So how can they have? Well, maybe it does. I'm just out of the loop, but I have no interest in it, so I haven't watched it. I can't really.
Yeah.
I can't really speak to that.
Mm-hmm. What avenues are you most interested in these days? I mean, obviously streaming, I'm sure, probably, but what other avenues do you really kind of look at and think this is where I really want to have my material?
Live.
Live streaming, yeah.
No live shows,
Okay.
because that's, even if I wrote and wrote and wrote and released music and people liked it and the energy built, to me, I know now the most important thing is when I play live. Mm-hmm. That's when I go out. I would really miss it if I couldn't go out to see how the world is. So like when I play live, it's so hugely important about just telling me what's happening in the world, how people are, all that kind of stuff. It's huge. I would feel like half the man I am if I didn't play live. It would feel disconnected. So that's really important to me. And secondly, in a more precise answer to your question, streaming. I don't know if it's there yet. I don't know if the right avenue is there yet, but definitely interactive. It's so important to communicate.
Yeah.
Me anyway, like feel like you're being heard. Like the audience needs to feel heard. That's huge. That's why you get an expression like when the singer cries, the audience stops. That's what it's all about. You know, the audience is feeling heard until the singer backs up and thinks more about herself than the audience. And the audience feels that immediately and doesn't cry because they are now vulnerable. They're not being held by the singer.
Given how important live performance is to you, and I remember you during the pandemic, like because I've been a part of your newsletter recipients for a long time, but how hard was it to feed your soul? Like when live music went away during the pandemic, and how did you manage? Like, I know that you did a lot of meditation and you actually hosted meditation sessions online, but also performance, how did you sustain yourself through that period?
I think the meditations even was nourishing for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't
Yeah.
matter if it was music or not. It was just had to keep connect because, everyone knows why. But that was very hard on everybody and interesting. I'm not saying hard is bad. You know, it just was a bit of a wake-up call for a lot of people. And, How about you? How did you nourish yourselves?
I think getting together with this gentleman, like in the corner here, you know, and basically just sort of like talking about music that we love online, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was very important. It was also, but yeah, I had to get out and walk around, you know. And
did you go deeper into yourself too? I think a lot of people went.
Mm-hmm. I wrote
I managed to.
Are you there?
Really
okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think I certainly managed to learn a lot of interesting things about myself, and I actually did a lot of healing over the pandemic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I really did.
Seem like that's what we need. We're all needing a lot of that, and a lot of people maybe did.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, Jane. It's this radio station. This is an internet radio station, and we love what we do, and we adore what we do, and we're so lucky and fortunate to speak to wonderful people like yourself. And this for us has been very therapeutic. I think, just like Dimetre said, that you know we get to do this on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And you know, we just celebrated our 100th anniversary. Last week we had Cream AT singer Iskway join us live. We had Trevor Hurst from Econoline Crush. We had Brad Merritt from 5440, and just, you know, and on and on and on. And we just had all these wonderful guests that are willing to talk to us. And because of that, we just count our lucky stars. We really do every day. And again, like we've already thanked you, I think 6 times since you've come on screen. But you know, it's just it's awesome that we get to do this. So this for me has been one of the things that's kept me going.
Yeah. So if it's so important, which we've all agreed, it's like communication. Like, can moments be any better than this? Like the three of us talking right now. Like it's like a ball of sunlight or something, you know?
Yeah.
How do you offer that to more people who don't even know how to, you know, don't even know how they could be nourished? Seems like this is a way to expand, to be of service in some way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you. You just literally hit the nail on the head, because that's one of the things that moving forward, now that we've done 100 of these shows, and we kind of feel like we sort of think we know what we're doing now. I mean, as far as an interviewer goes, I'm no George Stroumboulopoulos, but I do the best that I possibly can, So what we want to do starting to move forward is we want to advertise on our, platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and try and get our word out there. And we're hoping to get as many people involved in this project as we can, because I think there's a lot of wonderful people out there that would be able to contribute a lot of great content. So, that's one way that I think we would love to reach out.
And like a moniker that like our, Canadian as heck, come be nourished in a way you didn't know you even needed, simple, everyday human beings like yourselves, let's do it sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a great sort of, I guess it's called like a mantra that I stole from the great DJ Jazzy Jeff. And it's music, it's not what I do, it's who I am.
That's wonderful.
I just kind of live by that every day. So, like I say, being able to talk to wonderful folks like you, it's I'm living it and I'm lucky. So,
So Christopher Vaughn wants to know if the new album has a working title yet.
Many.
Would you like to hear some?
Oh, sure. I think Christopher Vaughn
I think this is a world premiere here. So absolutely.
Okay, well, a few things I'm sure of. I'm because the songs relate to each other, and because I like to link songs together. And when I do a live show, by the end of the tour, it's like one long story that goes together cohesively, all the songs. Anyway, it's the way I am. So I'm going to call it season 1 as the overriding thing. And then season 1 will have its own name. Like, here are the possibilities. Season 1, These Hard Knots, KNOTS, until people kept saying, nuts, are you saying nuts?
Knots. Yeah.
You have to test things out. And then now I'm thinking it was going to be called To Love Love. But maybe that's for a later season, I think. And then each song is an episode, really, So I think the first episode is season 1, whatever that is. And then episode 1 is Bountiful, Beautiful. And then that'll go to the next song. And so then it's sort of an open-ended recording. I just keep adding to the next season or whatever. And I don't have to think, can I get a whole new recording? It's just like, it felt like a good thing for me to do. Mm-hmm. So season 1, whatever the umbrella name is, but season 1 is fine.
But the thing about, so we're going to have like numerous seasons coming out.
Yeah, I hope so until I die. Hopefully,
because the thing about your career is that it seems that you never want to repeat yourself.
Yeah,
like I think that like every time, like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you've never wanted to repeat yourself. Like when like after Speckless Sky, you went in a hard different direction with The Walking, and then after. And then after When I Was a Boy, you went in a hard different direction with Maria. And so is that fair to say, like, that you change direction, and like and that excites you probably, right? Like to change direction all the time.
Yeah, as long as it's not patchy, and just doing it for the sake of change. But if there's an inner guidance, I noticed that after the Speckless Sky, even though the first 3 records are widely different, because they were widely different, they were all the same. You know what I mean? It was weird. Like every record had a slow, beautiful, and then fun, upbeat, And even though within it they had a wide variety, because they were all having wide variety, I realized there's something missing. So I had to pull out different colors more strongly for each one. So the next one was, I think, The
Walking, right?
Walking? Oh, yeah. So that became more about autumn and geese and a certain emotional tone. I realized that was really important, or else you're putting out stuff that that we need a bit more guidance than that for how to. Yeah, and then I did that with Jane Siberry. I think after 13 records, I thought, okay, that's enough. People don't even know what record to start with. Like, let's start all over again with Isa.
Yeah.
Now I've moved forward to Jane Siberry, but it's funny, like that. In a way, let me just say, putting out a song at a time is better than doing a whole record, because you put it out, it's too much. People are saturated, and you don't honor. You think, but what about that song in the middle that was about, the beauty of someone's feet or something like that, and that's sort of gone in this overwhelming mass of music. So one song at a time. I figure we can enjoy one song at a time, and I'll have like a talk about it, and people can tell me what they think about that subject. And in some cases, experts in the field, because some of the songs are about, one of them is about the cash bail system, and I've talked to a lot of people about that. So maybe people would enjoy listening. So you can sort of honor each song in a way that maybe is easier for people to enjoy a song instead of the whole shebang.
So that's everything that you're saying is perfectly valid. Are you going to miss the craftsmanship aspect of the crafting an album experience? But if we're only releasing a song at a time from now on.
That's interesting. Yeah, if I may just really quickly, we've actually seen a lot of artists doing this podcast. We've seen a ton of artists that are doing the same type of thing that you're doing now, is doing kind of a song at a time over maybe say a 6-month period or something like that. Do like a song a month or something. Do you, like Dimetre says, do you think you'll miss the idea of essentially crafting an album?
Oh, no, but I am Dimetre. I am in a much bigger way than normal, because now the crafting is over within a season and over seasons, and it's one long story. So I do feel I'm doing the same thing, and maybe like with the videos, and then have repeating characters, and even in the music arrangements, I have repeating voices, and then.
This is really interesting, because to me, it almost feels like you're releasing a Netflix series. Did you know what I mean? Like legitimately, that's kind of what it feels like to me. That if you're doing almost kind of like what's the word? Episodic? Like you know what I mean? That's really interesting. I think that's a very, very unique way of going about releasing essentially a full-length record.
Yeah, I think people love stories, and I think the reason people will love Netflix, it's a reaction to when we were 6 years old and we said, please read another chapter, please. And you have to go to sleep and lie there fidgeting. And then now we get to read ourselves as many stories as we like all night long, and no one can tell us we can't. I think it's a very immature reaction, but we love Netflix. No, I'm
so Christopher Vaughn loves To Love.
Oh.
And then, but I think that this is a suggestion, because it says to love, ellipsis, then love loves you too. And then he's got a happy emoji.
No, that's really great, Christopher. But I don't think it's true, because love always loves you. Always, never, no matter if we're committing suicide or whatever, love is, I believe, it's always there. The only difference is what gets in the way of feeling it. So you don't love to get something back. That's conditional, and that's not what it's about, I think. But yeah, thank you, Christopher. But come up with something else.
Think of something else. Exactly.
Love. You can simplify your life, and all you're going to do with every action from this moment forward is to love, and love is everything. So to love all the hard things, love our horrible things we say to ourselves about ourselves. Okay, can we actually love the way we speak to ourselves, and just say, oh, poor little thing, you had to do that for some good reason, but let's just get on with the party,
Jane, you just seem like this person that's, not only do you seem, you are a wonderful person to talk to, but I just feel like I can just literally be, so relaxed and comfortable with you. Sometimes when you're speaking to celebrity, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but like classic example, you were asking how we were, how we managed to deal with the pandemic and the things that we were able to do. Saying awful things to yourself. One of the things that I managed to overcome over the pandemic was my imposter syndrome, which I struggled with for 15 years. And that's one of the things that I was able to deal with over the pandemic. So
did you actually get to the bottom of it and released it through going deep enough, or how did you do that?
So I actually was seeing a therapist, and I'll be straight up honest with you. I'll tell you exactly how it happened.
Why not?
He kind of saying to me, he said to me, can I talk to you about your imposter syndrome, but I want you to be the imposter syndrome. And I was kind of like, okay, you sort of second guess, and you're thinking the whole hocus pocus thing and stuff of kind of medicine and this and that. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be the imposter syndrome. So he asked me the question of, why do you stop Craig from doing certain things, that you don't want him to do? And I said, because I'm trying to stop him from getting hurt. And then my therapist said, it sounds to me like you really care for Craig. To which I burst into tears.
Yeah, that'll do.
And it was the frame was completely flipped backwards, where I was looking at it a certain way as this is a negative thing that I'm dealing with, and he turned it into a positive. And that was really, getting to the root of it. That was really what helped me deal with it.
And how do you make sure the root sticks? I mean, you remove the root of it and then you replace it with a whole different reframe, but how do you make sure it sticks and grows in a positive way? Like, don't you find it sort of easy to go backwards?
That's a great question. It is easy to go backwards, and I think it's because I lived in that headspace for so long that I never want to go back there again. And I know I don't ever have to go back there again, because I know that I am enough. I'm a great dad. I like to think I'm a great husband and, a good person. And again, being able to do all of the wonderful things that I do on a daily and weekly basis helps me to not fall back into that pit.
That's great. Aren't we all in the same boat? That's fantastic. And I love hearing stories of that, because then it sort of inspires me or makes me remember different moments I've had, like you've had, a reframe that was really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I wanted to ask you, Jane, talking with Dimetre about just the breadth of the material that you have, would you consider yourself a concept-based writer as far as your music goes? Like doing concept albums, I guess, is what I'm getting at?
I don't think that word's necessary. I think most artists are creating a thing, but has to tie together somehow. Because, that's how you generate energy, everything. You create something that, like when you're cooking, it generates more energy within it. So I think most musicians are like that. I think so, or artists. So concept, I'd say that's sort of a given, but I may be not answering your question the way you want, but
no,
I guess I don't really like
okay.
concept, so I'm trying to
Yeah, I guess concept can
just
sort of
storyteller, just a good storyteller, period.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess that's probably pretty more of what I'm getting at, as opposed to kind of like concept based, like Dark Side of the Moon or something like that. That's really more what I'm getting at, like just a great story.
Oh, definitely. I'm a Dark Side of the Moon type person, like telling a story. I mean, that's what that is. And people love stories. I mean, we go right back to those cold winter nights when we're in bed under our, furs at like 5 p.m. and someone's got to tell stories. They better be bloody good.
So
exactly.
Craig was talking about Duke Street earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking back, like the roster was you, Art Bergman, FM, Chalk Circle, Mo Kaufman. Like at the time with you being inside of it, did it seem at the time to like you it was like a really cool place, or that it was like did it seem cool at the time, or was it a struggling small concern? But that was like, how was the Duke Street experience for you looking back?
Well, I'm a different person now, Dimitri, but then, I would be sometimes in conflict with them, about different things. Feeling I had to defend what I think I can offer. So, but that was then, and now I just see as like Andy Hermant was great. It was all fun and all these bands, whatever. We were all learning how to do it. No one really knew how to be a band. No one really knew how to be a record company president. We did okay, and it was fun. It wasn't like we all hung out, that all the bands hung out, but yeah, it was fine. And then at a certain point, I guess I was also connected to Windham Hill, and then A&M, and then Warner Reprise.
Yeah.
So diffused the Duke Street energy, but it was all fine.
And also, I do have to ask another 80s question. You were part of the Tears Are Not Enough recording. And I just have to think like the only other person in that recording that Craig and I have talked to so far was Andy Kim. So I just wanted, could you tell us a little bit about your memories of that day?
Yeah, I just watched it, so I can tell you that I was sort of out of it. All I knew is my manager said, you have to be here for this and that. I didn't know what was happening. I tuned in later, and I'm more tuned in now, to what it was. It was really quite sweet, Mm-hmm. And the documentary they did is funny, and, Bruce Allen and blah. The only part I really didn't like was when there was a certain pride in using a real musician who played French horn to get him to play one note, and then you have a fine musician sitting there, and then they seem sort of proud that they sampled one note and he can go away. I really didn't like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all make mistakes. Maybe maybe the people who made it are sorry they put that into, but it's who we were. So, and I loved, as I sort of woke up a little bit during the day, I got to talk to Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and people who I love, and then meet other people. And when I watched the video like this year, it's a whole different perspective, isn't it? Like, and Andy Kim, and then it was sweet. It was just super sweet, And then if you watch the American one, that has a whole different vibe too. It depends on the director, the editor, but all in all, it's sweet because it's all us, and we think we are, and whatever.
Yeah, I would be absolutely destroyed by people that I used to work for CFNY. So a lot of the people that I'm still good friends with are obviously maybe a bit dark music and dark film fans and what have you, and they would absolutely slay me if they knew that I did not ask you anything about The Crow. If just how you managed to get involved with that project. Is there anything you could tell us about that?
Probably came through Warner Reprise, because all of a sudden, someone wanted me to, Graham Revell, who's a notorious songwriter for film, he wanted me to come in to sing it and write the words. And it came through, just like big Hollywood. They sent me a rough cut. I didn't like it. Then I watched it again. Then I said, okay, I could do it. And then I went to Hollywood, to LA, to this very strange suburb of new homes and sort of dazed-looking people and fake neighborhood things and kids. Everything was I would say not nourishing, disconnected. It's a bit of is this really what life is supposed to be like?
Yeah.
So that's always useful to be learning and seeing and things like that. So, and then I wrote he wanted the chorus to be, it won't rain all the time. It can't rain all the time. From the film, fair enough. But I couldn't get that out of my mouth, so I changed it to it won't rain all the time. It's very different. It can't rain all the time. It won't rain all the time. But so, yeah, I just got swept into it with the usual, record company thing, which is also what happened with Katie Lang. They said, "Oh, let's put two people together. They'll make something special. Who could we get to blah blah blah."
That wasn't getting Katie Lang. Wasn't your idea?
No.
Oh wow.
No.
Okay, because you duetted on "Calling All Angels," and then you duetted again with "Let Me Be Your Living Statue," which so gorgeous.
Thank you.
You two work together so well.
That doesn't have anything to do with who thought of it, though. But yes, I think it was the hand of the greater involved.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of bubbles to pop. We don't want to fool ourselves, right? We want to see true, and then beyond that, there's always depth and mystery. But no, it wasn't like, oh, I must sing with Katie Lang. But it ended up being a beautiful thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, somehow it was an alchemy that was of value. So, yeah.
So why do you feel that your two voices work so well together?
Why do you think?
It's like I think that just like you would never feel I think it's a textural thing in my ears. It's just like I don't know how you decide whose harmonies, who does what harmony, like when you two work together. Obviously you two know what you're doing musically. I don't know how you decide that.
I think it was Katie Lang. She just came in with these lines, and I sang with her. A lot of it was her creatively,
Mm-hmm.
We said, okay, let's break down this chorus and you sing it. But her lines, she just did it.
Are you talking about "Calling All Angels" or "Living Statue" right now?
"Calling All Angels," and then "Living Statue" was probably the same thing. She's just a full-on musician. And I think the blending is, to a certain degree, like we all carry our soul on our human voice to a certain extent. And I think we might perhaps be sisters in a way, like spiritually. So there was a blending of spiritual energy that is the texture that you said work together,
Mm-hmm.
and her, like when I would solo her tracks, it would shock me and I'd feel, like, oh, there's the real thing. I'm not a real singer. I know I'm not a real singer. I know that, but she's a real singer. And it would shock me when I'd solo her tracks and say, oh my God, everyone in the studio would go, what is happening here with her voice? I think it's somehow her soul is more apparent on her voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man.
That's
so good.
I
could listen to you talk for hours. So,
but your time is finite.
Start changing stories and stuff, and then to keep you interested, and then I'd get sued for scandal and.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Jane.
Yeah.
It's
I
been
think it's great what you're doing. I think it's wonderful, and what you said about nourishing yourselves through the pandemic, it's so true about what you're doing. So I wish you all the best, and you both seem very honest and real, and can't do better than that,
Thank you, Jane. You're just you are just awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really there's a million, wonderful, descriptives that I can give about you, but you're a national treasure. You're awesome. And we just can't thank you enough we can't thank you enough for the music and the memories. That's all.
I hope you really enjoy the new music. I'm really.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will.
Wait.
I just speaking for myself.
Me too.
But yeah, as I said before, Jane, everybody out there, Jane is touring all over North America throughout November and the very beginning of December. You can go to janesiberry.com to check for tour dates. She's hitting Winnipeg, Saskatoon, Calgary, Edmonton, Duncan, Nanaimo, Courtney, Victoria, Vancouver, Chilliwack, and then Toronto, and her last Canadian date on this website so far is Ottawa. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to Newfoundland, which is one of my favorite places on the planet. But yeah, but so it's a compartmentalized Canadian tour. I'm not going to, I just want to say that. But I only meant to do it to raise some money to finish the recording, and now it's become sort of a big deal, and I put in as many dates as I could, so I'm playing almost every night, and I don't know if that was a good idea, but I look forward to getting out on the world stage and feeling people. I really do. And I didn't want to go for too long because I have a beautiful rescue dog, and we're bonded.
Oh, lovely.
I didn't want to make him insecure, so
can I ask what type of dog?
He's a Jindo, Akita mix.
Oh, okay.
He's from Korea and came over with an agency, and I just lucked out. He was like 6 or so. He's so peaceful, and he had to work off a lot of trauma at first, had walking nightmares for a long time, but he's processed beautifully. All these things came out, and now I'm so lucky.
Good for you.
So I wanted to, after this interview, I had planned to play the song Morag. That was on Ulysses' Purse and Angels Bend Closer. Mm-hmm. And just because I just felt like that song kind of makes me well up. Do you have anything that you want to tell us about the creative process in writing that song and where it comes from?
I do. First of all, the Ulysses' Purse version is better because I used the basis for it were bells from St. Paul's Cathedral in England. This wind came up. I was there with my dog Gwillem, and the bells started ringing, and my hair and my skirt blew up. I wasn't wearing a skirt, but don't tell anybody. Anyway, better for storytelling.
You just told everybody, Jane.
They can imagine what they like. But, so that was key, and they left the bells out of the Angels Bend Closer version. So that rhythm and those sounds became part of it. And honestly, part of it came from when my first of 3 dogs, I was told he didn't have a great will to live because he was very sick. And so she said, just tell him about, what will happen if he does live. So I would say, and in the fall, you'll see this and that, and the leaves will fall, and they'll have a different smell. And I went through all the seasons. So in a way, that was a bit of a template for me telling a young person, all the amazing things they're going to see and feel and hear. And it's a song I wish I'd heard when I was younger.
Absolutely.
Given me some greater view of the world,
Yeah.
So that song means a lot to me, and I live where all the moss and lichen is that I mentioned in the song up in northern Canada. How I am so lucky, I don't know, but yeah, so I'm surrounded by beautiful microscopic things.
As a microbiologist would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't really believe in germs, so I don't know how that goes.
Oh, wow. Jane Siberry, thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Canadian as Heck, episode 101. And we just really appreciate your time. And again, thanks for the music and the memories.
Have a great day.
All the best.
Thanks a lot.
So much.
Bye.